Hello everybody, my name is Nick Champlin. I'd like to share with you some PS90 maintenance tips I've gained from working on these rifles for 15 years on a near daily basis. This is going to be real short because this rifle doesn't have a lot of maintenance issues. It pretty much just runs. If you're actually experiencing short stroking or regular malfunctions, in almost all cases, unless it's a crappy magazine, in almost all cases, these issues can be solved by taking the bolt and oiling it. This bolt actually will, without maintenance, without oil, will rust, so you need to oil it once every year, once every 2 years or so. I think the manual says that you're supposed to put oil right here. But so long as these shafts are all covered in oil, it should run real slick. That'll fix almost any trouble you have with this rifle. It can be fixed that. You might, it's like a miracle cure. Oh, last time I had trouble with my rifle, I was actually out at the range. It was short stroking, and I went over my truck, got the dipstick out, got a little oil from the dipstick on my fingers, ran that on here. That's what's on it right now. Worked beautifully. Automotive oil actually makes really good firearm oil. Isn't this neat? This design, I think, as a throwback to the grease gun, I think was the first submachine gun to have this sort of two rods, the springs and bolt all captive as one assembly. Oh, while I've got this in my hand, the bolt itself here, some of the PS90 bolts are parkerized, and that's a good rust proofing. Some of them have what I think is this, I think on this one it's like a, let me zoom in for you here. I think this one, you can see the pitting in here. It's like a crappy nitride finish or something. In any case, long-term storage of the weapon, you probably want to take some grease. Grease this up real well, outside of the barrel as well, just to prevent rust from forming. Alright, as far as the rest of the maintenance goes, again, really straightforward. It says in the manual not to use any lubrication on the trigger pack, to just wash it with soap and water and leave it at that. Of course, everyone wants to lube it up because it's a notoriously crappy trigger. Back 15 years ago, we all assumed, you know, you're not supposed to use lubrication, so something dry like graphite would be a good idea. It turns out graphite is a terrible idea on the plastic. I think that the graphite nodules are actually harder than the plastic, and they can embed into the plastic to some degree. I've done hundreds of trigger jobs on these, and the only 2 trigger jobs I ever had to tear the trigger pack down entirely, to like take every pin out and take everything apart. The trigger packs were malfunctioning. It had actually been sent to me because I wanted them repaired. The users had put graphite in there, and there'll be like a extra big, like crusty hunk of graphite. It gets down in there, doesn't get broken up, and just like embeds itself against the sides. Even like, you know, even like hitting this with a pressure washer and stuff wasn't dislodging that graphite that embedded itself in the plastic. So it turns out graphite is actually a bad idea. And also a bad idea is any kind of gun oil. I see this all the time. I get a trigger pack one, and this one just came in from a customer and it had some gun oil on it. I know when I go to test this out, when I'm done with the trigger job, I put it on the scale, that this one's going to have like a, it's going to be a less than ideal trigger pull, maybe a ½ pound lighter than I'd see on ones that haven't been soaking in gun oil. Like really bad stuff is the solvent stuff like Hopes or something. Rem oil's not good, WD-40's not good, the Barricade, formerly known as Sheath, is a bad idea. They're all bad ideas. Maybe, like, I'm not sure, maybe a mineral oil or a, you know, just a thin machine oil might be okay, but I'd stick with a, you know, the best lubricant you can use on a plastic moving parts, white lithium grease. It's perfect for this application. And it was just the teeniest amount, a little dab like that. And I'll show you I'll show you where you do it. Here's a spot right back in here. there's that slot there. If you look down in that slot, you'll see the arm of a spring down there. You can get some kind of under the arm of that spring. You can do this part of the hammer here, right along there. Again, the teeniest little amount will give a film there. This part of the hammer here, and that's all you really need. If you wanted to go crazy, you could actually take this pin out. You'll dislodge the spring and you'll have to get it back, and there's kind of a trick to it. But if you take that pin out and were to smooth that up, that actually, you'll have a perceived difference, because a little bit of lubrication on that pin, this action here, when that goes back, it's riding on that pin. So it's nice to have a little lube on there. But again, just white lithium grease. You do not want to use graphite, you do not want to use gun oil. It's honestly better to have nothing, to just the soap and water is better than having gun oil. You might not believe me, but you can tell the difference. One of these has been soaking in a solvent-based gun oil. It kind of just ever so slightly gums up the surface of the plastic and increases the friction on the bearing parts. What else can I say? You run a bore stake through the barrel, the bore, of course. I think I mentioned that another thing that could get you in trouble, you don't want to leave any grease or oil in the chamber. That can cause problems on any firearm. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Have a nice day.